Hi! On the Woodpecker today, we spent the last 3 weeks at the cottage. During this time, we installed our new soffits and we had quite an adventure. I don't know if you saw my episode in March when I had to remove some soffits from my cottage to let the water flow from my frozen gutters. Well, now it's time to replace all of them. To do so, I bought a bunch of MacLeod planks. We'll let them dry like that for a while. I want to make my soffits for the cottage a bit like the ones I made for my shop. After several days of drying, we cut most of the planks into 6 pieces. With René taking care of all the small pieces, this goes pretty fast. We cut some planks just in 2 in case we need some longer pieces. Freshly cut MacLeod is quite rough. Since we want to stain it, we surface all the planks. It's just like an assembly line, and almost as fast. But I want a shiplap assembly, so I cut a rabbet on both sides of each piece. In the end, with René's help, this also goes pretty fast. Those are all the pieces that we made. Now we need to let them dry even more. The most important thing to do is not to breathe too close to them. This MacLeod is quite damp. Standing up like this makes it dry faster. But I also need a jig to cut the slots into the soffits. For this, I use this plywood that caught fire on my CNC. The small pieces will be held in place on the part that burned. I just need to screw some cleats to hold it in place. But to cut the slots, I need a pattern. For this, I'm going to use my CNC. This is what the top pattern will look like. I just need to cut it. Since this is quite simple, it doesn't take long and it's done. But before unscrewing the pattern of the table, I check if the collet fits inside the opening. Since it's perfect, it's time to drill the aligning holes. When the 4 holes are done, I can glue the dowels inside the base. When the glue is dry enough, it's time to cut the slots. Here's how this jig works. The first piece is slid under the rabbet. On the other side, another rabbeted filler will give a straight surface for the wedge that will hold the plank in place. Then the pattern goes on top, and now it's possible to cut some slots. This is not very fast, but with some help from René, it goes a lot faster. But this wood is not dry enough. We let it sit like that for several more days. Then we wipe a coat of tinted oil on all the pieces. Let's say that it's faster than cutting the slots. This oil dries quite rapidly, And in a matter of hours, we are able to staple some screening to keep the squirrels away and a finer screen to keep the wasps and other bugs from entering. Then we let this dry for another couple of days. Next, we pack all this in boxes and drive to the cottage. This is the view we had the day we arrived. All this smoke is what's left of the huge forest fires in early June. Before installing my new soffits, I need to get rid of the old ones. As you can see, I had a visit from at least one squirrel. When I noticed that squirrels were able to enter beside my chimney, I closed it. But I guess it was too little, too late. They had a small party and damaged my insulation. Now we need to sweep this away quite smoothly. This is quite disgusting. But now we can install our new soffits on the left side of the chimney. René hands me the soffits from below and I screw them into place. This goes pretty fast, at least when no cutouts are necessary. The jigsaw I picked up in the garbage has a really bad blade. Needless to say, I broke it in no time. But the most important thing is that I managed to finish the cut anyway. But some soffits are too long. We need to shorten them. I also need to rip one of the original soffits and remove the rabbit on the last one. Now everything fits and the left side of the chimney is done. I guess it's time to do the same thing for the other side. And here it is. This side of the cottage is finished. But we still need to do the other side. This is quite repetitive. But on this side, there's an unpleasant surprise. I found a squirrel nest. Those wood rats are really pests. Look at this massacre. I was not expecting this. The nest is huge. At least from now on, they won't be able to enter so easily. When all the old soffits are gone, we can trim the end of our new soffits. To make sure that they are all the same length, I clamp the stop on the table saw. Now we can put them in place. And as simple as this, we have changed the soffits at the cottage. We're pretty happy with the result. Having stained the soffits makes it barely noticeable that this wood is not over 100 years old like the rest of the planks. I wish I could say that the rest of our time was all fun and games. But that wasn't really the case. Staying 3 weeks over there means that we have to do the laundry. With an old washing machine like that, it's not as easy as doing laundry at home. After the wash cycle, we have to wring every piece dry and then bring another 3 full buckets of water for the rinse cycle. When you have to haul the water, it makes you realize the enormous amount of water those old machines use. At least now, we only have to wait. Nothing more. But we also need to repair the gate. The first thing to do is to remove what's left of my broken wells. Unfortunately, this is when my generator stopped working for the rest of our vacation. To finish the job, I had to use my portable inverter. We were so lucky to have it with us. When I'm done grinding, I can drill the holes. To replace the broken pieces, we're going to put metal plates. I need to cut them and drill more holes. Then the first side of the gate can be removed. We fish a screw and bolt the plate in place. After putting the gate back in place, we do the same thing with the other side. All that's left to do is to add tension. But without the generator, my plan to make concrete with the cement bags that we brought is gone. But nothing stops us from getting some sand for the next time. This goes pretty fast, and in no time the box of the pickup is full of sand. But this is quite heavy, so the first thing we do when we're back at the cottage is to empty it. All the buckets are emptied in this barrel because we still need them to get some gravel. But 1 hour after we're done, disaster. A huge storm brings down a tree. I tried to film a little, but we had more pressing matters to attend to.
Je pense qu'on va attacher là.
It also rained like crazy. This was filmed on the site at the bottom of our stairs. It was so windy that the next morning we could see smoke again on the lake from another forest fire up north. We hadn't seen any for over a week. But the storm also left a lot of branches on the ground and downed several trees on the only road we have to get in and out of here. We will have to take care of that. But this will have to wait. The more pressing thing to do is to remove this tree, which is leaning at 45 degrees over my shed. Lucky for us that it got stuck on another tree further away, because I don't know what would have happened to my tower. The tree was also leaning on one of the guy wires. We couldn't do anything about it on that day. Let's say that I didn't sleep well that night. The tree didn't break. It was uprooted by the force of the wind. We were afraid the same fate would happen to this one also, so we tied it to another one. But I guess this wouldn't have made any difference. All the stepping stones were moving. It's obvious to see that this one is lifted up. So I tied up the leaning tree to another and realized that it could move. So I added more straps to the truck and René pulled on it. This is the result. But one thing we weren't expecting was to bring down the entire forest. In the end, 3 trees were uprooted and our sidewalk is not the same anymore. But at least the tree is on the ground without any damages to my shed. The small battery-operated chainsaw is perfect for the branches. But I need a real chainsaw for the rest. But that's not all. We need to get rid of the stumps. This had the effect of uprooting all the trees that were still standing. it's a real massacre. It's hard to believe that less than 24 hours earlier, more than half a dozen trees were here. But our day is not over yet because we have to also get rid of the trees that are blocking the road. We didn't expect to make firewood this year. Well, our wish didn't come true. The next day, to rest a bit, we only picked up some small rocks for the concrete we will do on our next trip. In 15 minutes, we are able to fill one bucket. In all, we filled 10 of them. The last thing to do is to remove them from the truck. Now, we're ready for our next visit here. But until then, we will only dream of those landscapes that we love so much. See you soon for another episode of The Woodpecker.